Dark Blaze Workshop. Welcome back to another video. This is another catch up of what's on the bench and what I've been painting lately. So if you've seen the last couple of videos, you'll know I've been on a Star Wars kick and it hasn't abated as yet. So I'll just take you through a few of the models that I've done recently to start with, and then we'll move on to what's on the bench. So first up are these speeder bikes. Now this was all to do with watching the Disney Mandalorian series, and in the second season we get to see a few of the scouts on their speeder bikes. Now normally in the Star Wars films they're like a dark brown, but I was just totally blown away just seeing them in a different colour, and I just had to paint them in that colour scheme. So these are the ones. I try to get a bit of contrast going using like a pale blue grey at the shadows, and then the highlights are a pure white then, but I was trying to get a transition in between. And if I turn it maybe that way, you can see the tops of the panel there. You've got the pale blue grey and then a mid-tone and then white at the bottom there. And I think it worked quite well. I've got another set of 4 to do because my son's getting into Star Wars as well now, so he said, "Oh, can you paint some for me?" So I'm going to be doing a lot more Star Wars for the foreseeable future, I think, but I'm not complaining because I'm really enjoying it. So next up is the Inferno Squad. These are TIE fighter pilots. It's nice messing about with a different recipe for the helmets, using a couple of different shades of desaturated blue, trying to build up the metal shine on them. Really enjoyed them. So I've recently bought another box because they're quite difficult to get hold of. I don't know whether there's a problem with the supply from the US with these, but they just seem to be quite sporadic at the minute. But I've managed to get my hands on another box of 7, and hopefully I can get them done soon as well. So next up we've got a couple of characters from the Empire. The guy on the left is Director Krennic. Probably recognise him from the film Rogue One. And then General Veers on the right hand side. Colour scheme for Veers, I nicked it from looking at German uniforms, and I used like a German, I can't remember if it was uniform green or something like that, but I really like the colour. And I've been painting something in military green. I'll try and find him in the what's on the bench for what I've got planned for later on. I'll show you that. But no, really good fun. Had a bit of fun on the back there using an old GW colour, Caradon or Charadon. I think it's Caradon Granite. It's like a grey with a bit of green in there as well. It's a really strange colour, but it seemed to offset the ivory really well. So started off with the granite, then mixed in the ivory, and then kept mixing in the ivory till I was up to pure ivory. And I think it gave a quite nice sheen to it, so it's it turned out a lot better than I thought. So again, staying on the Imperial side, this is an officer. Regular viewers of the channel I'll know I hate black, and this was no exception. So I was using my go-to really is dark blue grey, pale blue grey, and then white and black then to shade. But the black I was using like a black ink and Payne's grey ink, so I mixed those two together to get a glaze, and then I glazed that into the shadows, and I think that it plays nicely against the dark blue grey as well, so it turned out quite nice, I thought. I tried a little bit of non-metallic metal on the buckle there as well. Now these two aren't official Star Wars Legion releases, they're actually 3D printed. You can buy the files, or you can ask official printers to print them off for you. And I did exactly that. I found a company actually in Swansea, Proteus 3D Modelling, and they're the official guys for Skullforge and Darkfire Designs. And you get in touch through their website, ask which ones you want, and they'll print them off and send them off to you. It's great. So the one on the left is Bo-Katan from, again, the Mandalorian series, and the guy on the right has just finished today. Everybody online is calling him Dad Bod Boba Fett. So it's the Boba Fett in his later years, should we say. He's had a few pies, and he's cleaned up his armor, and he's a lovely sculptor. The pose is amazing, and I had a bit of fun taking some videos earlier, and I'll try and replicate it in a minute now. But I had a bit of fun with the armor on Bo-Katan. That's a Latop blue from Games Workshop, and it's Cantor blue in the shadows down the bottom, and then I worked my way up through a Latop by adding in I think it was off-white and then white at the top then. But I think the Cantor blue takes the shadows down quite nicely, and then a little bit of Payne's grey in it just to finish it off. The leather belt is using Scale 75 wooden leather set. Lovely set that, if you can get your hands on that. It's lovely matte finish on it. The green armour on Boba Fett is military green, and I was using my old Hogwarts mix, which is the paint, water and flow improver, and it's only a couple of coats on there to get that effect. So you do the first, you go from top to bottom on the chest armor plate. You start at the top, pull the paint down, and you do a couple of strokes. You work your way across the panel, and then the second pass you go about from 3/4 of the way down, 3/4 of the way up, and work your way down. So the color becomes more intense in the bottom, and then you do a couple of highlights at the top, put an extra shadow in the bottom, and you get a great contrast on it. Lovely transition as well, but that flow improver really helps the process along. Again, the robes are the leather set, so use the black leather, red leather, bit of khaki added to the red leather then to get the highlights. Lovely miniatures, exactly the same scale as the Fantasy Flight Games stuff. So I highly recommend them, especially if you use Proteus if you're here in the UK. So next up is the bad boy. Absolutely love this miniature. It turned out really well. The reds in the face, I started off with Mephiston red and then worked my way up to an orange for the highlights. And I'm really pleased with it. Let's just keep it at that. The lightsaber was interesting because I used the same red to start off, but then I started using like fluorescent red, and then orange, and then up to yellow then at the beginning of the actual lightsaber where it meets the hilt there. And I don't know if I can probably switch the lights off maybe and show the UV effect, but it is really nice. Let's just have a go. I'm going to pause it and then we can give it a go. So I've just moved one light out of the way and I've got my UV torch now, so if I switch it on, you can see there the effect that it gives on the lightsaber. Really nice. Good fun too. So next up is another version of Boba Fett, but this is the official Fantasy Flight Games version, and it's not quite finished yet because I'm waiting for a 3D print of smoke that comes out of the jetpack at the back there, and it goes all the way down to the base. So I'm just waiting for that to turn up, and then we can get that sorted. But I went for a similar colour scheme to the other Boba Fett that we just saw, the Dad Bod one, and did a bit of freehand on his shoulder pad there. But really nice. The only thing I struggle with is the helmet there. It's supposed to be red markings on a green helmet. Now I'm colourblind, I only know because I tried to get into the police one a few years ago, 20 or 25 years ago. Applied to the Met and turned up for the medical and said, "Oh, well, look at this this book, you know, the ones with the dots in it, and you have to pick out the numbers if you can see them in the book." And I just couldn't see them. So, oh, you're colourblind, right? Okay. Police don't need anybody that's colourblind, so I joined the Air Force instead. Anyway. Yeah, I really struggled with the red, so I had to put a bit of orange in there as well, just to lighten it so I could actually see what I was actually putting on the helmet. But I don't think it makes that much difference, and it's quite nice. So I'll try and give you a better look at Dad Bod. Just going around there. Also got the jetpack. I'm not going to bother with the smoke on this one because he's static on the ground. But lovely sculpt. It comes with the rock, and what I did was just put some paste around the base and pushed it up against the rock so it filled the gaps. Turned out quite nicely. There's a better look at the armour on this one as well. Again, lovely figure. Really flawless as well. I had hardly any cleanup on these to do. Obviously, you had to cut a little bit away under the arms where the the 3D printer supports, because they run from the base up to the arm to support the arm when it's printing. But apart from that, hardly anything to clean up on it, and the faces are really good as well. So highly recommended. And so last up is the Occupier tank. This again featured in the film Rogue One. I think it's a TX-225, I'm not sure. But they call it the Occupier tank anyway. It's used to transport the Kyber crystals. As you can see, the containers at the back there. I went for a heavy weathering scheme. In the film, I think it's just like a bluey grey all over. There's nothing. It's pretty plain. There's no markings on it or anything. And I thought, it's in the desert. Let's make it deserty. So I started off with a grey base coat, and I did the hairspray on it, and then I used like a Dunkelgelb colour scheme, and chipped it to within an inch of its life, and put a lot of dust on it as well. I think it turned out okay. It could be better, but I think I've gone a bit over the top with the dust, but I like it. The stormtroopers are actually from the standing stormtrooper kit, and I had to butcher them, cut the legs off, cut the knees, reposition them so that they're sitting, and they turned out well, so I was happy with that. But now I've found a company online that you can buy an STL file and you can print them now, seated versions. But I'm glad I used these because they're exactly the right scale to go with the rest of the stuff that I've got anyway. So let's take a look at these are the Kyber crystal containers. Tried a bit of rust on the bottom there, and a bit of a zenithal paint job on them. Try to make them more interesting. supposed to be orange in the film, but I was going on the basis that I was going to put rust on the bottom. I thought, what goes well with an orange rust? Obviously blue. So if I painted them orange and then put rust on top of that, you wouldn't really see the rust. That's my that's my way of thinking anyway. So that's it for the painted stuff. Let's move on to what's actually on the bench to come. So we've got Chewie and Han Solo. Chewie's only just started, just got a couple of tones on there, and I need to start highlighting up. But you know, it's all progress in it. So I'm waiting for a friend of mine to send some 3D printed stuff, and in return I'm going to paint his Han Solo. So I'm going to wait for that to turn up, and then I can make a start on him. I find it really easier to paint two of the same thing at the same time, and as a result they usually turn out quite nicely. So I'll wait for that one to turn up, and then we'll make a start on them. So I've got another couple of 3D printed stuff. The one on the left I think is supposed to be Peter Cushing. Again, I'm going to use the military green colours on him because I've fallen in love with that colour and I want to try and make it work. So the face is more or less done, and the hair, but I need to figure out what I can highlight the military green with. I haven't really used that many colours with this, so I don't want to go too light on it. Might work on the shadows instead, so we'll see how that comes. The other one is Mandalorian, the dropper Cara Dune. Features quite prominently in the series. Lovely sculpt again. The faces are perfect on these as well, so looking forward to that one. The other thing I've got is the AT-ST. Now the model is so big I can't fit it in within the frame of the camera. So to give you an idea, there's the officer. So that's just the main, you know, turret on top of the legs, and the legs are, I'd say, about 9 inches to the top of that turret. So yeah, it's big. The plan is I've cut out that panel there so I can fit in some red LEDs, because in the Mandalorian series again, there's like a red glow in the cockpit part, and I really like that. So that's the plan there. I've got a few bits. I've wired it up, but I don't think the LEDs are strong enough, so I'm gonna have to try and source a couple of stronger LEDs, and see how that goes. And apart from a lot more stormtroopers, we've got another couple of 3D printed sculpts there. The guy on the left is Moff Gideon from The Mandalorian, and obviously we've got the Mandalorian himself on the right. I've tried some, I've never experienced it before, but I put some oily steel on the Mandalorian to the right, and it came out really speckly, and it was bloody awful. So I've gone over the top of it with gunmetal and a bit of black in it, and I'll try and highlight up from there. This oily steel has been lovely up until this point. I don't know what's gone wrong with it. I haven't mixed it with anything, but yeah, horrible speckly effect on it. It looks really rough as well. So I don't know whether the paint is separated or not, I don't know, but I might order another pot and see how that goes. So here's a quick look at the Inferno squad. I wanted to do a quick chat about this because most of the Star Wars Legion stuff is basically monopose, or you glue the arms on. But these are like and it's a different material as well. It's quite soft and quite pliable. But this stuff now they swapped to hard plastic, and the detail on it is amazing. And when you put it together, there's hardly any mold lines to clean up or anything. A little bit of filling here and there, but really nice. And you get different options for weapons and different heads. You've got the bear heads, and obviously the helmets, different weapon options. Really nice kit. And you get 7 in the box. And can't wait to get going on them because they're really nice figures as well, especially the helmets. And I think it's because of the size and scale of the helmets, it gives you more scope to play with transitions and highlights and everything. It's really cool. So I think that's about it actually. Enough waffle. It's probably gone on way too long. But apologies to the Harry Potter and Batman fans, but Legion's taken over for a while. I will get back to Potter at, I'm not sure when just yet. Hopefully you'll stay with the channel because I think the Star Wars stuff is really nice to look at anyway, so hopefully you'll stay with me. So that's it for me for now, and we'll see you in the next episode. Cheers.